If you go in there and you become a ref, and you become the guy, like Corrente, Tony Corrente, who has been for a long time, I assume you get a little bit of a power-hungry ego.
Sure.
That could potentially come creeping in when, hey, this game goes as I go.
My game.
This game doesn't start until what? Till I blow this whistle. Like some pitchers have talked about how when they're pitching, they just feel like they're in so much control because this game literally doesn't go until I throw this ball. Like that's a state of mind that they have to have about, you know, owning the moment, dominating the moment, everything like that. Refs, there are some, not all. There are a lot of humble, incredible refs out there that are just trying to do their job, trying to make the game better. They feel like it's their calling to be an official. They see it better, whatever the case is. But there are some refs, we've all seen them, that try to make the game about themselves. And I don't know all the focus groups. I don't know all the studies. But I don't think not one motherfucker has said, I'm tuning in to watch Motherfucker in Stripes.
No.
I don't think one person in the history of football, maybe the wife or the significant other or the family of Tony Corrente was watching that game last night to see him give a good couple calls.
Oh, yeah. Let's call Tony.
Yeah, hey, Tony, didn't talk about that call you made in the first quarter, whenever, blah, 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 blah.
Looked good.
You know, not going to do that. But Tony Corrente last night obviously clearly wanted that game to be about him. He wanted people to remember that he was the ref there. He wanted fucking Cassius Marsh to not do what he did on Tony Corrente's field. Cassius Marsh, by the way, TJ Lane gave a hysterical tweet about it.
Yeah.
TJ Lane said, hey, pal, okay, you just got a coverage sack after 6 seconds. Maybe don't celebrate, lose your mind. Just go ahead and dap up your teammates and get off the field. That is definitely something that could have happened. Cassius Marsh, though, cut from the Steelers, back in Pittsburgh, Monday Night Football game for the Bears, gets a sack, albeit a coverage sack, still a sack in a massive moment on a massive play, third down. How you doing? Keep it moving. I think Mike Tomlin probably appreciated the fact that Cassius Marsh potentially walked over, which he did, and stared at that line, stared at the team. Are you not entertained? Does that warrant the ref butting into him as he's going off the field, then throwing a flag over in the fourth quarter, throwing a flag over his head, extending a drive, fucking the Bears completely?
Yeah.
Is that little piece of emotion from the human that is Cassius Marsh worthy of the entire getting personally offended by what he did, butting into him, extending the drive, and in turn potentially fucking the Bears? All because we are allowing emotions to be judged by ego-driven humans, some of them. Not Tony Corrente is obviously an ego-driven human. Let's just say how it is. But anytime you have others judging people's emotional response to something, you're immediately going to get a lot of questions. And that's why when the taunting thing became a point of emphasis, and when I started talking about it being a point of emphasis, I had a lot of stooges who don't listen or think that I am dumber than I've ever been. I mean, I guess I have been pretty dumb at times, and I try to read some of those law books last night.
True.
But it has been pretty dumb. But I never talked about taunting not being a rule. I understand that taunting is a rule, but when it becomes a point of emphasis, that means that the NFL is going to be strict on this. And how can you be strict about something that's a judgment call about emotions in an emotional game, in an emotional situation? What do? Well, they don't want them looking in the person's face. They want to go any other way because they feel like that is what has led in the past to all the moments that none of us want to see. That is too much. Cassius Marsh didn't do that. He did walk from one hash across the other, looked at the thing. Presley Harvin was jogging onto the field about 14 yards behind everybody else because that's the punch stamp. So I guess Tony Corrente could say that he dunked on Presley Harvin after he got a sack on Ben Roethlisberger because he did appear to potentially be looking at him. But he just said, in the manner in which he was standing, I felt as if blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up, Tony Corrente.
Yeah.
And the issue is that the person that's in charge, Walt Anderson, you know how many times Walt Anderson has made it about himself? He's not going to punish Tony Corrente either. And then you can go to that post-game interview with Tony Corrente. Listen to the self-righteousness of this conversation. We don't have it.
Don't have it.
I think we do have it though. I saw it. It's the bull,
Back and forth.
What is it? The bull call? The poll? What do they call it? They called it something. I don't even know what it is.
pool report.
The pool report or whatever. It's just whatever he said in there made you realize even more. Like, oh, the reason why all these reviews are being treated the way they're being treated is because you're talking about refs who act like they've never made any mistakes in their entire life. So whenever you review it, you're potentially slapping them in the face, and they have such an ego about it all that there is never a time where the review ref wants to step on the toes of that ref because they all know how ego-driven it all is. I think we have it here. Go ahead and pull it up now. Okay, you're going to have to make that full screen, obviously. This is a Pro Football Writers Association pool reporter, Adam Hodge.
Hoge.
His interview with referee Tony Corrente. Chicago Bears at Pittsburgh Steelers, Monday, November 8, 2021. This is a pretty official report here. Question. What did you see after the sack by Chicago's Cassius Marsh in the fourth quarter that led to the taunting penalty being called? Corrente, first of all, keep in mind that taunting is a point of emphasis this year. Exactly my point. What I've been saying since literally day one of this entire thing happening. And with that said, I saw the player, after he made a big play, run toward the bench area of the Pittsburgh Steelers and posture in such a way that I felt he was taunting them. Tone's doing the posture right now. He was standing with great posture. He's a professional fucking athlete that just got a sack in the fourth quarter on a Monday Night Football game against a team that cut him earlier this year. Tony Corrente, though, thought his posture in which he was looking at the bench was taunting. There appears to also have been some contact between you and the player in question. Did that contribute to the penalty? No, not at all. I didn't judge that as anything that I dealt with. Okay, so he didn't throw the flag, by the way, until after he tries to hip check Cassius Marsh, who's probably looking at his sideline, by the way, saw the ref, I'm just going to go around him. And Corrente goes, oh, you're going to walk off my field after doing what you just did without me getting a shot at you? No way. No way are you going to. He does a chip on Cassius Marsh as if he's a tight end or a running back on a defensive end on his way off of his field. Then he throws the thing. So was that him taunting Cassius Marsh for him doing something on his field that he didn't like?
I mean, he throws the flag right when he got bumped into. Like, I don't think there's any, that's all he was thinking about.
And everybody says that he had his hand on a flag before then. It's like, maybe he was like, if this motherfucker makes contact with me.
Yeah, right.
I have to.
Yeah, but then he probably immediately afterwards, somebody in his ear was like, hey, TV just caught you hip checking.
Yeah.
So don't say anything about that afterwards. This guy fucking stinks. It would go on. The video showed that you had brief contact with player and then you threw the flag. So that had nothing to do with the penalty. That had nothing to do with it. It was the taunting aspect. Can you explain the low blow? Now, obviously, when something like that is such a decision maker, then they go on to other calls that Corrente potentially fucked up. Like a new one, which is a low block that Jason Peters had been talking about happening to him all game. He was actually, if you saw him interacting with the refs, Jason Peters, 18-year vet at tackle, by the way. That's a long time on the Bears. There's a couple times where he turned around and he was like looking at the ref and like, hey, they're cutting me right. Like, I'm getting cut right now. And then all of a sudden, somehow, some way, there's a pulling guard thing that he cuts outside guy, takes back a touchdown. And then, just like in baseball, ESPN had a tight end
K-zone.
Box.
Yeah. It looked like a case of. He painted a corner.
Yeah, he did.
That's right.
He painted it. He was on that tight end box. So then Tony Corrente goes on to say, well, it wasn't in the tight end box. And I assume Adam Hogues was like, hey, listen, pal, we saw it on. It actually was. Hate to break to you. We saw it on TV. It was. But those are things that, can't they say upstairs, like, hey, I understand what you saw and it might have been fringe, but it was we're cool. That's a touchdown. Pick it up. You're good.